Here it comes. Hey, Austin. How's it going, bud?
Hey guys, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, are you still healthy?
Yeah, I'm still okay. I'm the only one in the family that is.
How's your little girl doing?
Not so good today.
I'm sorry.
She's got a pretty bad cough and a little bit of a fever today, so
Ooh,
she's been
something.
cranky.
Only thing I can think of that we do, if the cough gets too bad is just take a hot shower with her, get a lot of steam going and stuff like that. That's the only thing I can think of is steam.
Yeah.
That's what she and Mama are doing right now.
There you go.
Yeah,
I just remember those days.
yeah,
I hope she's feeling better real soon, but
yeah. Me too.
yeah, I
Me too.
understand. All right, I guess I'll bring this meeting to order at 6:34. First item of business will be the minutes of January 10th, 2024. Do you guys have any corrections or anything like that? I didn't see anything.
No,
All right, I'd entertain a motion to accept the minutes of January 10th.
I'll get a motion for the regular meeting of Wednesday, January 10th meeting.
All right, second.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Right?
Hi.
All right. Let's see, we don't have any bills and warrants, so, I guess we'll go, see, we have a 7 p.m. appointment. Is that appointment with the town?
Anthony will be here,
Okay,
or he won't be here, he'll be on Zoom.
okay.
Yeah,
All right, let's go to old business, boards and offices. I thought it was, what we had was working pretty well. And Austin, are you okay with the way it is right now?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. We do have a couple letters, well, we did, I brought the wrong one, here it is. We have a letter from, Lisa Branner, wanted to be on the tourism board, and, a letter from, Brooke, wanting to be on the tourism board, Brooke Stillwell.
there should have been one from Tiffany as
And
well.
there's one from Tiffany K, so that will fill all the seats except for one, if I remember.
No, that's that.
Does it? Let's see. 23, we're here, there it is. Two, and, keep Judy Graham as
We
an
just keep
alternate
Judy
then.
as an alternate.
I got you, okay. So that was great. I'm thrilled that those folks were willing to take it on again. We do have to find an alternate for the Board of Adjustment. That's about the only other thing I noticed.
Okay, we did have
Todd Bowe,
submitted an email to serve on the Board of Adjustment.
okay. Did Singer and Jared Board express interest in their,
I didn't hear from either of them. No.
so are we assuming they're still on it or not?
What we could do is put Todd on as one of the members and then drop one of them down as an alternate.
Okay,
That's just a suggestion.
okay.
I don't think Jared Boyd lives in Silverton anymore.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a
I
while.
was gonna say, I.
Oh, you might, yeah, I think you're right, Austin.
I think he moved to Alaska a couple years ago.
He did, okay, it shows you how much I'm aware.
Yeah.
Not very.
So, you want to just put Todd in his,
Let's do that, yeah.
Okay.
So if we put Todd there, then we still probably should, find an alternate if we ever get a chance. Or not necessarily, I
We
mean,
don't-
you
we
can
don't
do the
have
board
to have-
adjustment with
we can-
with 4 people if you had to.
yeah, but if there's somebody out there
Okay,
that would think of, that would be interested, we can put them.
and as far as Avalanche board, I don't, is there even any point in having an Avalanche board?
You know, we've kind of.
I mean,
You know, we used to use them for planning, if somebody was building where there was an avalanche, building on the site and there was an avalanche or something. The avalanche where we go out there and, kind of give it the thumbs up or thumbs down. But, we require if there's an avalanche, if
There's,
when they're building,
Yeah.
there's an avalanche zone, we require an avalanche study.
and those folks are experts in
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're putting their business on the line
Yeah.
when they make that decision, so.
Yeah.
I personally don't feel like we need an avalanche for it.
I mean, it certainly doesn't hurt to keep Louis as a advisory member because he has more boots on the ground knowledge of avalanche.
Everyone and every.
Yeah, he does.
But, you know,
Yeah,
any
he
kind of
does.
impact, so for sure.
Yeah, so just leave it like that, and make Louis the avalanche for it. Yeah, there's a lot of paths there, I didn't even know I had names, you know, so. Austin, any input on any of this, or are you okay with it?
No, I'm okay with all that.
Okay, Pete,
Yep,
okay, I'd entertain a motion to approve the appointments to boards and offices for the calendar year 2024.
I'll make a motion,
This needs to be
the
changed.
appointments.
Second.
boards and offices.
Yeah, no, that I left 2023 on there because that's what current was.
Gotcha.
So,
Oh, I see.
I will get you, an updated one that says 2024 with any
Oh, okay,
changes and corrected.
okay. You made a motion, Pete?
Yeah,
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, that takes care of that part of old business. Renaming the county bypass road. I just, the one I had an idea to just call it the Coleman Road, because then you would encompass both Ernie and Judy as far as their service to the county and the town. That's just an idea. I don't know. I mean, who came up with that?
Well, I just put that on as.
Okay,
Basically, what a couple of things I wanted to include. One is that what we probably do. Understand this up here. And he can speak on this too, if he feels like it. What we probably don't want to do is actually change the underlying road. You know, it's still County Road 110 bypass. What we want to do is just recognize, essentially put a sign up there that calls it the Ernie Coolman or the Coolman. You know, somebody suggested Ernie's Way. I thought Coolman's bypass, since he always bypassed all regulations. Not just joking. Ernie's Way because we always had to do it Ernie's Way.
yeah,
No,
yeah, I think the last name,
but I think, you know, I checked, I did, check with Dennis and he's gonna do a little further research on it to see if there's anything we need to do. But like I said, because, you know, because of these roads are all, and every section of road is tied into the state, roadmap. And addresses and everything in general, we want to keep the underlying road name the same.
County
We
Road
won't change that. We
110
just
bypass.
put a sign on each end, you know, like.
Oh, yeah,
it
yeah.
is Ernie's.
so respect, yeah.
The other thing that Dennis reminded me of is, and I don't see any problem with this here, but just to point it out to you. A lot of places have, policies that they won't name something after somebody until they're actually gone. Until they've passed.
Yeah.
In part because there was a sheriff that got his jail name for him and he ended up
In the jail.
in the jail.
Was he from here, eh?
No,
Oh.
this was, Arapahoe County, I think.
Oh.
No, this
That-
guy was a
Yeah.
big.
I don't think we have to worry with that.
I don't either, not on this one, but it is a cautionary.
Up darn.
Yeah.
No,
So, as far as the name, what do you wanna call it then?
As long as it includes Coleman, so we
I
know.
mean, could it be the County Road 110 Coleman bypass? Could it be the Coleman County Road 110 bypass?
Yeah, that might be
I mean,
good.
do you want Ernie Coleman? Do you want just Coleman?
I mean, Coleman would include both of them.
That.
I kind of like that idea. I
Yeah,
think that's good.
yeah.
I mean, I want to recognize Ernie though. I mean,
Yeah. How about the Coleman County Road 110 bypass?
Sounds good to me.
I like it. And then if Dennis finds any fault with that, and doing a little bit of research or suggest something a little different, then I think we can take that suggestion as it comes.
Yeah, I'm going to look a little bit farther, but honestly, I don't think there's a problem with it. And as Willie pointed out, you have to have your state road inventory, so it'll still officially be called the number, but then the signs will have the Coleman on it, and yeah, and I would suggest you do that by a resolution, and you'd probably have some ceremony, right? And I'll take another quick look at it, but I don't think I'm going to find any problem with it.
Well, okay, so we'll just wait till we know a little bit more and then,
So essentially what I'll do is I'll come up back with a resolution at the next meeting, if somebody comes up with a better name or more brilliant idea,
Okay.
we can discuss that, but I'll do it in the form of a resolution for the next meeting.
okay. Sounds good. All right. I guess move on to, the skid steer price quotes. This is totally out of my realm, so I'm gonna, rely on Pete.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you don't mind, I mean, bottom line is bottom line price. When I went after this, they're essentially up three very comparable, the same size machines.
Okay,
Okay, they all have a turbo because naturally aspiration doesn't work at 93, and you 18, you're instantly at 10,000. So, and they all have the high flow hydraulic package, so that you can put anything on them. The thing about these little machines is so cool. There's so many implements for them.
well, I bet there's a ton.
Oh, they just come up with them all the time. I mean, whether it's a post hole digger, but even a backhoe attachment, blower, and that high flow. Each one of these has that high flow option, so you could hook. They're already plumbed for it. So once you could these are just basic machines, but they all obviously they have a cabinet heater, which is kind of nice
Sure, yeah.
in this country, right?
Yep.
But you also have those two features so that you can, these are 10-year machines too, the 10 or 15-year machines that you can add anything to. So basically it comes down to price and warranty and
Yeah, how long was that warranty? 2 years, there it is right there. Or 2,000 hours, and
Yep,
we're not
on
gonna
the first one.
we're not gonna be racking up the hours on it, I mean, just could, I guess.
Oh, I don't know about
Have a
that.
big winter, I mean, I suppose you could,
Even
yep,
like Willie said, behind Amble Mountain Apartments, and
oh, yeah,
They're-
yep,
you get one here, it's gonna get used.
yep, yeah,
They're handy.
I forgot about Amble Mountain, I'm just picturing out here, but you're
Right.
gonna get a lot of business for that down there, I mean,
Right.
get a big storm or something like that, so. But it still looks like the Bobcat one was the cheapest one compared to the John Deere and the Cat one, though, so.
Yeah. The cat came in pretty reasonable, I don't know what's going on with,
Yeah, John Deere was
it's,
92,600.
yeah, it's not even in the,
Yeah, not even in the ball.
yeah,
We were getting the gold plated model.
I guess, golden wheels.
but you're talking about, even, and Davey did a good job, pricing this up. I can't, when I got into the governmental thing makes this so complicated, you wouldn't believe it. These guys, this takes these guys 3 to 4 days to do. This isn't just Scott, used the old day, you could bring a bag of cat and buy a machine.
Sure.
Those days are over with,
I'll be darned, okay.
right? But I do need to say that Davey did a good job. I have no problem with Asa, he's just $40,000 more.
Well,
That doesn't make sense.
the other nice thing is, these guys are in Durango too, so if we need to
They are in
serve
Durango.
50 miles away, I mean.
Yeah. And I will say one thing, like I said, I do. Katie's doing a good job, they're revamping, they're, you know. Things are happening better there, as Louis said at the last meeting. They're not getting, you know, the parts are still okay, but the service hasn't been exemplary. Where John Deere has the parts and stuff, but the price is too much. I will say for Bobcat, I've never had any, those guys are good about that too. So they're kind of even on the service.
The things that are listed on the list, is that all the things that we need then? Or
That's what those come, yes. I mean, they're pretty, that's, when I talk to them, that's just the basic model. I mean, it, you know, but except for engine block heater, well, that's pretty, gotta have that here,
oh my gosh, yeah.
right?
Yeah, parked right out
You
here.
know, it's
so.
like, yeah. But the high flow is key, yep.
Pete, what do you think about implement availability for rentals? You know, Cat probably has a pretty good stock, but then there's the Bobcat dealer in Durango and Target Rental in Durango. You think there's more availability of those?
Target,
implements
actually,
or-
what you said, you know, Target, what you said is the Bobcat dealer.
Oh,
And
okay.
they implement there, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where they're the service and everything, so yeah.
I mean, besides the standard scoop, what else would you ever see us needing to use on that Bobcat?
Oh, blower.
Or like a snow blower or something
Yeah,
like that?
so they were talking about it, they make these. That's why you have the high flow, that you can accept it. They make these blowers that are on these skid steers that are amazing, you know. I don't see us needing one right now. But I mean, they're, yeah, but, there's always something you can put on the front of these, you know. You can put a bigger snow bucket on them.
Yeah.
You know, you can put a grapper for brush and stuff like that. I mean, I don't see us using that stuff.
I mean, our main thing is gonna be for snow removal, I would think, so.
Mainly, but I would keep the other stuff in mind. You can do other stuff with them. They're
We need to
versatile.
dig we might need to dig a post for the Coleman Memorial Byway sign. Get a
Yeah,
post
there you
a little
go.
bigger.
There you go, yeah. But the nice thing, like Austin said, whether it's Target or Cat, you go down and you don't have to buy the implements, you can rent them. You know?
If you have a day's worth of work for a certain implement, that'd
Right.
be a lot cheaper than buying it. For
Exactly.
Sure, so.
Exactly. But both of them being Durango based and is a good thing, as far as service and availability.
Yeah.
And like I said, Daly's working hard to catch a revive. And they've been, you know, since. But
But it looks like, to me, we go with the cheapest bid, which is from Bobcat.
I mean,
The
go ahead. Austin.
Just the only thing that I can say for a Cat versus the Bobcat is if the Cat warranty seems a little bit better at 3,000 hours instead of 2,000 hours, and both at 2 years. But do you really anticipate that we would spend more than 2,000 hours in a machine in the first 2 years for warranty?
no, and you pay for that warranty. That's part of the price, you pay for it. But yeah, you know.
I just with that in mind, I mean, I'm tempted to lean towards the Bobcat machine, but you tell us, Pete, you've got more experience with these machines. If you think that the Cat is worth the difference in price of, what is it, $11,000?
Yeah, I think it's a toss up, but price is price.
Yep.
And Willie asked earlier, availability is about the same. Our supply chain is, we order it, it's not here tomorrow. It's
Not
probably,
in today's times.
you'd be lucky to get it by March
Yeah.
or April or May.
Cat was May,
May,
Right.
okay.
No,
at least.
we did ask her if she could maybe bundle the loader and stuff, and never really got, I mean,
Yeah.
she's working on it, but I don't know, guys, I can tell you these Bobcats are good machines. It's not a cat, it doesn't have the cat name and everything else, but,
But Bobcat was doing these long before.
they're,
everybody else got into the
yeah.
game. They started as little skid steer.
I talked to, I've got a couple of good friends that are really good mechanics, and they say they don't mind working on the Bobcats at all, and they're good. So to me, the price is pretty
That'll be
obvious,
okay.
since we're thinking about a cash thing anyway, possibly.
Yeah.
So,
So, or do you guys feel like I feel like we're at the point where we can, make a motion to, buy this machine?
The one thing I do need to
Okay.
point out is that the Bobcat bit, which is what kind of started us thinking down this line.
Yeah.
Was in November, so he basically said, it would be $1,000 more than.
Yeah.
What's on here, but it's still.
the price was good for 30 days, he worked on it all, for 2 days to try to get us the new quote, the governmental thing, but he just said add 1,000 to it, and we're
All
fine.
right, so we'll be at 53,000.
Yeah, right.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Is that what we include in the motion? We agree to spend 53,000 on a Bobcat?
Yeah.
Are you guys ready to make a motion on that? Any more discussion? All right, I'd entertain a motion that we buy the Bobcat. At the price of $53,000.
I'll make a motion to buy the Bobcat skid steer, $53,000.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I think it's a good idea.
Will you get a hold of them? Get the ball
I
rolling,
will make note to do
okay,
it tomorrow.
All right.
And we want it as fast as we can get it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it'd be nice to push some snow with it this winter. I think we can move on to new business, 2023 year-end financial report. Willie, is that supposed to be December?
well, yeah,
Okay, and then is this supposed to be, are all these supposed to be December?
yes.
Okay, and these,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the first 2 pages are revenues, is that correct? That wasn't.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so 3 pages are all revenues.
They should have all been.
Yeah. Did
I did, so when I changed one, they all paid, but apparently that was not the case.
Yeah,
Because we've got October, we've got December.
We've got October and November mixed in there.
Yep,
Yeah,
so,
but the numbers are all December.
Okay.
Okay.
The whole thing is December, right?
all right, let's just, I guess we'll just, Austin, you got some questions on this? Or Pete?
I had a couple. I'm kind of just breezing through here, trying to figure out exactly where I had some questions here. I had questions on general fund expenditures. I'm trying to see, that's about page 6 of 18. Page 6 of 18.
Okay,
The let's see here. The Office of Emergency Preparedness budgeted $65,000 and spent $120,000. And then I think that breakdown is a little further down. There, I'll see if I can find it here. That's
Was
just where I
that-
had all my earmarks.
Was that grants, Willie, or was that the new vehicle?
Part of, there was, grant money in there for the vehicle. The other part of it was, we took the money out of Office of Emergency Management or Preparedness, but, a portion of his salary was paid through, public health through the emergency, planning, grant. And so when I budgeted it, I budgeted his program for half of what the total was, so. So actually, it looks bad, but it isn't bad.
Okay,
That's,
So-
I'm sorry.
So the 120 then includes both the Office of Emergency Management salary and the Office of
Emergency.
Emergency Preparedness. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we hadn't hired somebody else, because I think that a lot of that was in salaries of
cool.
staff. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But that new vehicle is in that too then? Or not?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think it was.
and then just wanted to kind of point out a couple other things in there. Big increase in the custodian on there as well, and that line item breakout, we spent, I think, was it 40,000 extra dollars than was budgeted in propane and coal.
Yeah. No, yeah, we've got, okay, yeah.
What page is that on? What page you on, Austin?
Page 12 of 18.
Okay,
You look at, under the courthouse, we spent, over $40,000 on propane.
Sorry, I
And-
misspoke. Yeah, it's $40,000 total, not $40,000 extra.
Yeah, and then under the hospital, we spent, almost 19,000 in coal.
that was the question I had, has coal gone up quite a bit? Or is that just how much we spent on it?
Coal's not cheap anymore.
I mean, that used to be the
Yeah.
main reason you did coal was because it was cheap.
No, and, you know, when you add in labor to this, I mean, it's still less expensive than propane, but it's,
oh,
Yeah,
it's way less.
but if you add in, like, the repairs, I'm sure the repairs are probably to the furnace, there's $5,000 probably.
Yeah,
and,
And then just, your personnel, you know, Colin or whoever was working on that furnace definitely had to put some time into that, so.
I should probably not comment on this since I'm not.
Okay,
Right, right.
yeah. Austin, do you have some more questions?
Yeah, I had, I think, one or two more here. Let me. I just had my finger on it, and then I switched to a different page, and I forgot what it was here. A couple things. We had some money budgeted for computer expenditures. Let me
What
see if I
page,
can
John?
figure out where that is.
Was that with assessor's office or,
I think we had is it an escrow account for computer?
we do have
see if I can
escrow
find
for
it.
computer, if I remember.
yeah.
Yeah, more or less. I was just curious for that computer equipment escrow with this large bill that we're facing this year for switching some of our software over for the assessor's office, if we should be looking to pull a little bit of that money out of escrow, or does it not matter, or should we just say keep the escrow building for acute computer equipment?
What page, John, Austin? I mean, I see computer
Well,
equipment
yeah,
on
if you
page,
go to page 1, actually.
okay,
Yeah,
computer-
page 1 of 18 in the escrow
gotcha.
accounts.
We've got 4,000 under computer equipment. We also have 3,000 under assessor treasurer, and that was actually funded several years ago for a change in software. So that either or both of those could be used to offset some of those costs.
Just more or less an accounting of which accounts do we pull it out of, but it may make the overall bottom line of the general fund look a little nicer if we're able to use our escrow money for that. But you know, it's either this one or the next one. So if we have a healthy general fund and we say we want to pull it out of the general fund this year, upcoming year, that's fine too.
Just while we're on that page, on the secure rural schools, did Cascade ever ask for any of that money?
We haven't, received any, requests from them specifically yet. I'm guessing
They're not that far
they're
yet.
still trying to, get things, get grant funding from the Forest Service and stuff.
Okay,
I'm sure they'll be, yeah.
and then on the,
I hope they'll be in it.
you have a escrow account for the county barn. Which county barn?
It's Kent County barn in general is for purchase or major cost to either county barn. This, right now,
Like
and we talked about this a little at budget time, that our balance is actually greater than our what's still owed on the new county barn. And so,
Oh, this balance is
yeah,
bigger than the amount owed on the, so
yeah,
are you thinking about taking that and paying it off?
that was, that's my plan, is to contact the bank and see if we can.
If there's no penalties,
If
yeah.
there's no, and I don't.
I mean, the more debt we can retire,
Yeah.
the better.
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes life easier. Especially, now that we're feeling okay, now's the time to retire some of that debt, just in case, cause say you wanted to retire that debt in a couple of years and our assessed values went down, or we've had something else major or something, then we might not be able to do that. So I think it's a good idea. And then right below that, road equipment, it shows a balance of 72,000, but then a new balance of 144, but it doesn't show any revenue. There's zeros across revenues and expenditures. How did it get to that?
That, I don't know.
Okay, that was just something to point out. And then how did lost four-wheelers go from 3946 to 51,818? Just thought I'd point a couple of those little things out. There's a glitch in there.
No, something's out of whack here.
Yep, so I just thought I'd throw that at you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, numbers that aren't coming across. To back that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy, that's. Those are definitely out of whack. I don't know, Yeah, no,
Okay, I just was throwing it out there for you.
no, I may have to, well, not me, I will have to go through this and may have to come back with a
Okay,
revised copy if anything's, because, there's stuff.
some of it didn't carry over, yeah.
Shouldn't be.
On page 2, it's just observational. Our revenues for general operation are up, and our revenues for emergency services fund are up. I mean, that's just an observation, but it's a good observation for sure. Let's see, going to.
Can I make one more observation when we're talking about revenue as well, Scott? Just that our Pilton highway user taxes have gone up a little bit, but I mean not to what I would expect with the amount of inflation that we've been incurring. Page 4, especially the highway users tax. We've got record gas prices at the pump, and that highway users tax is barely moved.
Actually, the gas prices have fallen at the pumps quite a bit, actually.
In 2024 they have, but in 2023 they were high.
Yeah, you're right.
The gas tax isn't tied to a percentage of what the cost of the tax is. It's a set.
Oh, okay. It's a set.
So it doesn't matter if it's $1 a gallon or $5 a gallon. You pay the same. Same gas tax.
It's a volume thing then.
Yeah.
One of the reasons they thought that the highway users tax was falling is because not as many people were commuting as there was pre-COVID. And I'm curious if they've ever kind of pinpointed that now, how many people actually did go back to work where they're commuting, or is it like half of what, you know, the COVID years? But that was, the one thing that was pointed out, I would like everybody from the suburbs that was traveling into Denver wasn't, and so it dropped the volume of gas being spent on by quite a bit. So it's good that we're actually, at least even with where we were hoping to be. Would you say that's still kind of the case though, Willie? Because I'm just reading about a lot of stuff in many cities about empty office buildings and all kinds of stuff.
No, I think there's, yeah, I mean, I think, it's improved over the last year or so, but I think, you know, throughout the country, I think there's still a lot of downtowns that are pretty empty.
And the first thing that went through my mind, empty office building are affordable housing, but it's not that, the article I read said it's not that easy to change a big office building to affordable housing when you start thinking about, especially things like plumbing and electric and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, commercial application.
Big changes, so. Let's see, Austin, did you have something else on 3 or 4 there?
I didn't have anything else there on 3 or 4. So you keep going with your stuff, Scott. I just thought it would tie it into what you were saying. Just notes of revenue there.
Okay, just observational on page 3 is that sales tax definitely up, and then investment income is definitely up. I mean, Willie budgeted 9,000 for that, and it's 63,000.
No, you know, the last few years, we were getting pennies on investment.
Yep.
Last year, it took off.
That's
And that, I mean, that's the kind of money we used to generate, in interest,
Sure.
50,000 a year.
That's a chunk though. I
Pretty
mean,
regular.
that's definitely a chunk. Let's see. Page 4, any idea what the miscellaneous is? Just at the bottom there.
The road and bridge,
This one here.
half of that, is, Core Mountain,
Okay,
and the other,
of the miscellaneous, even though, because we don't have anything.
we did,
before
it
that.
didn't get put up as a line item.
I got you.
So,
So that, the 14,000 is part of that, is that 7,000?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I think it was actually a little better than that, and I'm trying to think what the other, was in there, you know, like, you know, Louis got rid of that, truck that, Dave had rolled.
oh, so
You
we
know,
might have got a little money for that, maybe.
Got a little bit for that, and I can't remember what else.
What does the LATV stand for?
Uh,
I asked you that once before.
yeah.
We're paying for cable in Los Angeles?
Yeah. Special TV. It's a federal grant, local and tribal something or another. And so, yeah, we put 100,000 of it in general fund and 75,000 in road and bridge.
Oh, is that one that just showed up out of the blue?
Yeah,
Okay. I like that one.
yeah, there really wasn't any strings attached to it.
Nice. Let's see. Okay, I'll keep going here. Already we talked about. Election costs really went up on us, that's page 6.
Yeah,
Substantial. Then, wasn't there some potential legislation to help small counties with elections? Wasn't there some wins?
I think there was
to
some
that?
talk about it, but I've never seen anything.
Okay, I swear I came across a little something on that. And, observational on page 7, by having Willie doing the planning, that saved us essentially 33,000. And do you still feel like you're able to do your administrative stuff while doing a little bit of the
I
planning?
think so.
Okay,
You know,
I will,
unless things go too crazy, but if they stay at the level they're at right now,
okay,
I think we can manage.
all right,
Probably. No, I'll go with that later, but. We can talk to Dennis later about the whole plotter thing and the septics and whatnot. Get your feeling on that. That's gonna be overwhelming. You won't know till I guess it happens, but the permitting.
We can touch on it now. I mean, it really, I don't want to speak about Willie, but we've talked about this before. We're not anticipating some kind of flood of permits. And at this point, we're thinking, maybe 4 a year. And, and I don't think it's going to be a problem, but again, I don't want to speak for Willie.
And Becky, actually, we had a meeting, Dennis, Becky and I with, La Plata Public Health and, Brian Devine. And,
Is he back in?
yeah,
Oh, good.
and, Becky actually, is gonna run everything, but she's not gonna run everything, but she's gonna run the paperwork through her. I mean, when they come in with the application, and she's gonna run it through her office in public health and sign off on it as public health instead of getting into, and she's definitely got the, with COVID and everything, calming down, she's got the bandwidth to do that.
Right.
She felt pretty comfortable about it.
okay. Just going to page 8, we budgeted for fire authority a truck payment of 20,000. Did we not make it? Shows 0 as far as year to
Yeah.
date, and I assume we would make 20,000 a year payment on that truck.
And, I looked at that too, and I'm not sure if we included,
Did it get included in something else?
yeah, I gotta go back and look at that one.
Okay, yeah, that just raised my eyebrows. And then, emergency services other, we budgeted 125,000, but we only used 85. Is there things that we didn't buy or we didn't use? Or requested?
We had budgeted that for the, the group that gets
Right.
together and decides on stuff, and they didn't.
That's what they came up with.
Yeah, so I'm
Well,
trying to think if there was anything in there that they had.
But that's good in a way. It means everybody's hopefully filling in the equipment that they
Yeah.
need and maybe, okay. I just noticed there was, let's see, on page 9, when you look at dues for the assessor, that's not a 690% increase, 703 to 690.
Yeah,
It's another little glitch right there.
I did catch that one, I didn't, but after I printed it.
Okay,
Uh,
and then,
we just wanna make her feel like she's spending way too much money.
There you go.
like on the, I'm on page 10 on the clerk, on personnel, how come we're only at 92% if this was the end of the year? Would we be at 100%?
Because we didn't start her deputy clerk.
That's what it is, okay,
Um,
till like
Yeah,
April or May or
Yeah.
something like that, okay,
we were partway way into the year.
all right. Okay. Health department on page 13, we'd have to have Becky budgeted 1,000. She must have got a grant for supplies or something, because it went from 1,000 to 7,000.
Yeah. This one's a tough one.
Because we have so many grants.
She's got so many grants.
You don't know where to put it.
If they're marked when they come in, when I see them, then I put them down on one of the grants. If they're not, I just put them up under the general fund.
Okay,
Reality is that, we had $428,000 in health department expenditures and 500,000 in health department revenue, so.
okay. And I just noticed, budgeted, personnel by grant has dropped substantially. Is that because the COVID stuff is running out?
I think that's part of it, yeah, or they just didn't need as much as they had.
Okay,
Uh,
cause our
And-
bottom line as far as total grants for health department is
Well,
pretty substantial.
And I
difference.
think when we budgeted it, it was based on the money that they had coming in, but if you remember, there was one grant we had to send back a pretty substantial amount because
We didn't
we
use it.
hadn't spent it in.
And we couldn't
time
find
period.
anything
Yeah.
to spend it on, so, okay. I hate to give that stuff back, but
Yeah.
you can't. Page 14 of 18, Willie, liability insurance, it didn't go up like 3 to 4 times, did it?
Yeah,
It did. We went from a budget of 38,000, year to date is
No,
117,000.
well, what we had budgeted, when we put the budget together, we were assuming that number, what actually came out was a much higher number, I think it was like double that. But we had already done the budget when we got it,
Okay,
so I would have to go back and look, but I think it went up, I mean, it was.
I know it went up,
It went up substantially,
but
but
it
it probably
didn't
went,
go up 3 times.
but it went up but it went from probably 70,000 to. Or 72,000, I can find those numbers.
Okay.
But
I just had one question for clarification with insurance stuff too, because there's different places where it's broken out into different things too. And when we have that line item for CTSI's liability insurance, does that include items like the sheriff's insurance, or is that in addition to our liability insurance for CTSI?
yeah, that's essentially where it is here under intergovernmental expenditures. That's doesn't include the sheriff's. Well, it does and it doesn't. There's things that we can pull out of the sheriff's, we can pull out of emergency or the fire authority, we can actually pull out of public health, vehicles, revenues, buildings. But yeah, so, yeah, you can't, to get the total, you have to go to, 3 or 4 different pages to total those up.
Okay,
Okay. That answers my question. And just one other question too regarding the sheriff's things. And just thinking with some specific things that we've had come before us or have in the works here. So if something happens with the sheriff's department inside of city limits that requires liability insurance for the sheriff's department, we're responsible for that, and the sheriff's responsible for that, and the town has no part in their in the intergovernmental agreement to take part in any action that might come in front of the sheriff's department. Is that correct?
I would say that's correct, but I'll let Dennis answer that one.
Honestly,
that's a complicated question.
hear you again, Austin, and I'd be happy to do that. But I would have to look specifically at the IGA language again.
It's just become such a common thing for more litigation to be focused at police departments and law enforcement in general. And I had never thought about it before reading kind of through my packet and reading through some stuff tonight, and I was like, wow, that's actually a pretty big part. If the town doesn't take part in the liability of operating a law enforcement agency, but doesn't feel that paying for their fair share of that is appropriate either, then that becomes kind of a larger conflict, I think. But yeah,
Actually, a really good observation,
good.
because
Very
they should be paying their part of the liability insurance, not just us.
Yeah, so I think
So many of the calls are in town too, I mean.
I think that's a good point. And when you're calculating your contribution to the sheriff's contract with the town, you certainly should be considering the static costs associated with insurance. And I don't know how you would prorate that out or how you would do that, but yeah. And I'll take another look at it while you're talking here, but certainly it should be considered if you're trying to be reimbursed 100% for your costs.
Yeah. And Dennis, just one other question specifically related to your responsibilities, and something in an event that the county came under litigation because of law enforcement. How much would that fall onto your shoulders versus the insurance, versus CTSI or another insurance company's legal team?
So typically what happens with any elected official basically is the county attorney, first of all, turns over any claims to CTSI immediately, and then CTSI typically assigns defense counsel, and then that's part of your insurance premium. And not to say your insurance won't go up eventually because of claims made, but they would take over. But it does get very complicated when it comes to law enforcement, especially because sometimes there are claims that are brought against law enforcement that aren't covered by insurance at all. And then it becomes sort of a tricky situation and a decision by the board as to which claims you're going to defend and so on and so forth. Now, the new law enforcement bill, I say new, the recent law enforcement bill does require some indemnification of officers in certain circumstances, but it gets a little complicated, and I don't think I could answer it fully unless I had the circumstances and we talked about it and everything else. But just as a good point, as a reminder that the county attorney serves at the pleasure of the Board of County Commissioners, and my primary duty is always to the Board of County Commissioners. And then it is usually the case in small counties where you lend my services to the rest of the elected officials in the county. But if there was ever a conflict between that elected official and the county situation, then I would always step away from the other elected official and just represent the Board of County Commissioners. So it gets a little complicated, and it would be hard for me to address every single situation right now. But it's a good time to ask you guys. I'm assuming you are okay with me lending my legal services to other elected officials in the county, so long as they don't conflict with my representation of the board, correct?
Yeah, sounds
Yes.
good.
Yeah. I would say though that, man, if it became like a complicated situation, just like you said, where insurance wouldn't necessarily cover it, if it was an action or something that was related to the services in the town and the intergovernmental agreement, I would hope that the town board's attorney or the town's attorney would play, would play their role for that rather than it fall on the county. But yeah, complicated things. Maybe things to discuss for our town county meeting with the town board and our budgetary discussions and some of those and IGAs.
Interesting. These questions come up all the time. I mean, I've been a county attorney for a long time, and yeah, these conversations continue to happen every single year about, hey, what's the county attorney's role when this happened, when this happened, and there's a lot of gray area, and there's a lot of differing opinions, and so like the rest of the county law, there are some gray areas that you sort of have to feel your way along with.
Yeah. And not to step on your toes at all, Dennis, too, but Anthony, you've represented the town. Do you have anything to add to that discussion, or any thoughts that have been running through your mind at all?
Well, I represent the town, very limited circumstances. I mean, I've represented them in as it relates to fiber and other networks. I mean, when it starts talking about, go ahead.
You were the interim administrator for a while too, and some of these kinds of things may have run across your desk there too. So
yeah, I mean, I think that where this becomes more complex is that the county, that's a county position, right? But when it goes over to the town side, they're a contractor, which makes it complicated, I think, for that situation. I mean, I'm not going to weigh in how it should be done. I mean, I'm not familiar enough with it, but that's the nuance between the two governmental entities.
Yeah. I thought you might have had something bouncing on your mind to add in there, but I totally understand. I'm not trying to put you in a position to speak for the town at all.
Yeah, no, I understand, Austin. I think that's the nuance that comes to mind when we're talking about the relationships of both.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I'll get in trouble if I mean, a contractor usually, right? And this is kind of a hybrid situation, but a contractor on the private side would be responsible for their own insurance, right?
Yeah.
This is an arm of the government. That's why it makes it complicated. So, yeah.
There are some
All
other
right.
arguments that sometimes towns make regarding the requirement of the sheriff providing certain services if there isn't other law enforcement services. I don't want to get into that, but it is really there's a lot of nuance to it. When we are talking about the IGA next time, maybe that's a good time for us to maybe task me with looking a little bit closer at it.
Okay. Anything else on that subject, Austin?
No, I think we could beat that one for a while, but we will leave it alone for now.
I'm glad you brought them up. I'm just looking at page 14. Did we get a grant to help fund Anthony's position a little bit more?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad.
Those-
Yeah, no, we've seen an increase from CPAG last year. Or
Okay.
this year. Yeah, last year.
And then looking on page 15, emergency preparedness at the bottom, personnel went from a budget of 48,000 to 97,000.
Yeah,
Did
again,
we bring
that's-
somebody else in, or is that?
No, again, because it's only showing half, the other half is in the total expenditure is all coming out of this one, but budgeted was half in emergency management and half of it in public health.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay,
so yeah, so it was essentially, I mean, it was slightly over what we budgeted.
okay.
But it's not salary.
Yeah.
Going to page 16, as far as budgeted for personnel for sheriff and what was year to date, that's because he didn't get a deputy for quite a while, and so we had that savings of almost 50,000.
Correct.
Okay. I know we had some repairs, but it looks like we had a lot of repairs as far as vehicle maintenance.
We did.
What all do you remember were those?
Nothing serious. I
Just
think
kind of nickel and diming us?
Well, yeah, there's a couple of was fairly large that they had to have towed down to Durango, but it was, it wasn't anything, it just, front end alignments and, I don't remember what all of it was,
Okay.
but yeah, and actually Steve usually does a lot of the, like oil change.
He's helped us with a lot of the smaller things, I
Yeah.
remember. And then on insurance, their insurance almost, it didn't double, but it's close.
Yeah.
All right, just an observation, I think. Oops, I had some stuff on the back page. Again, it's showing like for road and bridge liability insurance going up almost 2.5 times.
Yeah. Interestingly, workers' comp actually
It went down.
went down a little bit.
And it did, not just road and bridge, our workman's comp
Yeah.
went down.
Yeah.
Tell me again what the big equipment repair was that, Louis had to do that.
The big one was,
the cat was
the blade
Oh,
for the cat, rebuilding the
Okay,
blade, but just, when I put money under the equipment repair line item, it's, when they're getting, parts from either Cat or John Deere. So they're actually doing most of the work themselves.
right,
But
right.
it's like, I mean, again, with inflation, I mean.
Oh, the parts, I'm
those
sure. are
things
really
are
expensive.
I just picked them up for Louis. it's amazing what they cost anymore,
and
but
then,
they're at least they're putting them on.
sure, no, that's great, that's a big savings right there. And, it looks like they spent a lot of money on culverts, was some of that from that, grant that we had?
It was.
It was, okay, cause it seemed like,
Like almost $15,000 is from that grant.
okay, that was my question. That's all the questions I have on our financials, sorry it took so long, guys, do you have any more questions?
I had just one more, but Pete, did you have anything?
I don't.
Just one more too. When we were talking about our lease purchase agreements, the other one that we have that's very nearly finished here is the one for the preschool, and it may be my ignorance on the particular use of funding for secure rural schools, but would that be funding that we could potentially use to pay off the lease purchase agreement of the preschool?
No.
Uh,
It's the secure rural schools funding, is basically, can only be used for, wildfire prevention or wildfire fighting.
Mitigation, that's
Planning
why,
mitigation.
that's why Cascade was talking to us about using some of that for their like thinning that they wanted to do at Cascade and stuff like that. Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with what you think it would have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the school, you know, the school, public school actually gets 50% of that, whatever we get per year from the feds. But yeah, there, and I can't even think which one it is now, but if like we did the escrow with the school, it is real limited to where you can spend it and how you can spend it.
All right.
It would be nice that, I mean,
Yeah,
that'd been a great
yeah.
idea if we could have just wiped that off the books. But if we ever had to call in a tanker, you know, that money would be gone. Maybe one, maybe two loads.
We should be letting the Forest Service call in a tanker, not us.
That's all I had.
Willie, do you need a motion to accept the end of the year financials?
So let me.
Oh, go ahead, Pete.
I mean, we can, but it, there's so many glitches on this one. You wanna write up a new one and we do it next time?
No, thanks
I
for
mean,
bringing
it's
that
not
back.
even, the months aren't even right.
Okay.
What do you think about that? I'm just,
No, that is.
Yeah.
No, that was my.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm glad you.
some
caught
stuff didn't
that.
carry
I'm
over.
glad you caught that, because.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I think that's a good idea.
I'm afraid after doing this for 20 years and changing on a monthly basis that it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go in and rebuild it from scratch because it really looks like it's falling apart.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Pete. So let's just wait until you have the
Yeah.
final one, and then we'll accept it then.
Yeah.
All right, move on to the treasurer's report.
No,
Sorry.
we've got Anthony sitting here for.
Oh, sorry, Anthony, it's 7:00.
He's getting,
Yeah, sorry, Anthony. Whoops, you're on mute, Anthony.
It's okay, Scott. It'll be the people that I have to apologize to when I get to the lobby. All good.
Okay, what do you got for us?
Well, I just let me tee this up. I think we came to the last meeting. We didn't have the full language and the copy of the petition, the proposed petition. This is a petition that the town and I put together, town staff. The reason generally for this, and then I'll let Dennis weigh in if he likes, is that the town is the biggest landowner there, and it won't happen without the town. The county is the biggest landowner there, and because of the rules, if the county's not on board, then there's no reason to float a petition, because it requires the county to be a part of it. So there's a need for you all to recognize that this petition's out and appoint somebody for the county to sign as a landowner. And then with that, I'll pass the baton over to Dennis, if you have questions or if you want to add anything on, Dennis.
Yeah, I think the only thing to point out, I had some confusion. I talked with Anthony a couple times about it. Just to make it crystal clear, this is the town that would be handling the actual annexation process. This, what Anthony is asking you to do is kick this process off by signing off on the petition for the annexation, which gives him his minimum amount necessary to move forward. Like he said, without the county participating or wanting the annexation, he's dead in the water, so to speak. So this isn't an action being taken by the county as a legislative body or anything like that. This is just an action taken that the county's doing as a property owner. And then I did double check. It seems odd sometimes that you would be allowed to vote, so to speak, as a county, but the annexation statutes specifically state that even a body corporate can participate by voting for or against annexations, even though they aren't technically an elector. So, yeah, if the county is comfortable and wants the annexation to move forward, then I think you would entertain a motion to designate your chair to sign the petition for annexation as requested by Anthony.
Any more discussion on that? Austin or Pete?
Just one question. So what are we looking at currently for timeline for annexation?
That's kind of a tricky question. Just to be clear, if you get the requisite percentage of homeowners, residents, property owners, I should say, down at the area. So it's two parts. It's one percentage of the land, and then it's a percentage of the landowners. If that's done in the next week, 10 days, I think, depending on a couple things, that could be facilitated in a manner in which it would be done before April, which is the election period. If not enough landowners come along, it could not happen, or it could actually be delayed, for months. So does that make sense? Commissioner Lashley, I think there's been some interest in those who are living in that area to be a part of town on multiple fronts. And I think that based upon the survey, informal, that there is some interest, and it could happen within the next couple of weeks. But I don't want to, I don't want to speculate who will show up or who will sign when it comes time. I'm just, that's it.
Who is it, the town that takes that to those landowners to sign? Who facilitates that process?
So traditionally, somebody in the neighborhood would do that. You all are in the neighborhood technically. And it cannot happen without the county's signature. And so Lucy and I are working on that together. And if the commissioners vote on that, vote to go forward with this, right? Then Lucy or I would come back to Commissioner Lashley today or next week, or not today, but we would have that set and bring it to you. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I just wondered how that process worked. So right now, before we do this motion, Austin or Pete, do you have any more questions on this?
No, I think it's a long time coming.
And tell me exactly, I'm seeing, I think we want to do a motion to designate the chair to sign the petition for annexation. Was there something else you wanted to? Tell me exactly how you want that motion worded. Or Dennis, or Anthony.
Yeah, that the chair can sign as the landowner in that area, in that designated area. That's it.
So motion to designate the chair as the signer on the petition to move forward with the annexation. And that's it.
Okay, let's go with what Dennis just said. So make your motion based on what Dennis just said. Motion designate the chair to sign the petition for annexation. Does that sound good enough? Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to assign I'm kind of confused on this. Assign the chair to go forward on this annexation.
Just sign the petition here.
Sign the petition here.
That proceeds or initiates annexation. I think is that correct? Okay.
Sure, that's fine. So the motion is to designate the chair to sign the petition as the county landowner, which will then initiate the annexation.
Right, but we have to sign first because there's no point in doing it unless the county signs. So that makes sense. So we have to initiate those proceedings. All right, I'll entertain a second.
I'll second. Thanks for doing that, Pete. I think since I'm the chair, it makes more sense for you to.
I didn't do that very good of a job, but yeah.
Make that motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
No, it's a good decision.
Thanks, Anthony.
Anthony, and
thank
thank you, and thanks for waiting a half hour too.
Oh, yeah, we're all good. I know you all. I know that's one of your most important part of your positions is managing and overseeing the budget. So Austin, we may not come to you first. We just needed you to go ahead and know that was going to happen. So we'll get with you at some point. I'll talk to Lucy, and thank you all, and you all have a good evening.
You do the same.
Thanks, Anthony.
I'm going to see the EPA in the morning if you have any messages for them.
We're gonna have a letter from this meeting regarding Peter Butler's resignation and some of our shared issues.
Sure, and
just
Willie,
our main question is just if they would address some of the concerns that Peter brought up in his resignation letter, we'd appreciate that.
And I'm going to convey that generally. And Willie, I'm going in at 9. I may touch base with you during a break around 10. Willie, are you comfortable if I break now and touch base with you at 10 in the morning? If we need to carry on any message beyond that general message?
Yeah, I've got Region 9 tomorrow, so.
Okay. Do you want me to stay on for that discussion?
I don't think you need to, Anthony. If you do, I mean, we could go to that.
We could, if you want, we can just go to that letter right now.
If that's okay, that'd be great.
Yeah, since you're here, and have you seen this letter yet, Anthony?
Oh yeah.
He has or has not?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. No, I think it's a good letter from the commissioners because, Peter brought up some really great points, and it's points that we've all been thinking about, and I'd like to add some answers. When are they gonna start? When are they gonna start doing something? You know, I'll tell you the thing that changed things a little bit was realizing that it just wasn't the 4 big mines that are the big producers. It's actually looks like the tailings ponds too, and that was kind of an unknown a while back, and now it's like, well, during low flow, these tailings are actually making these metals come, the metals, something's making the metals come up, and it's gotta be the tailing, so. But that was just, but then you have to think differently on how you're gonna treat it, you know, how do you treat that, how do you treat that? I don't know, you wanna add some things there, Anthony?
No, I think, look, I mean, I kind of took liberty when I met with Joy about 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, and she had mentioned that, Peter wasn't necessarily looking for a response. He was speaking his piece. And I told her that I would anticipate that our county would, be requesting one. So this isn't going to come as a super surprise. I mean, in a general term, but I do think those things need to be responded to as it relates to those who are still on the CAG and the planning group and the commissioners in both counties.
You know what, Peter used the figure of about 120 million spent since 2015, and even though we've asked several times, we've never seen a breakdown of those expenses of where 120 million went. I mean, you think what 120 million could have done as far as reclamation in this county, if it was actually spent on reclamation and the building of a line plant, stuff like that. Where the heck did all that money go?
Communication for years on officer.
But it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
The water truck.
I know, okay,
Yeah.
but it's $120 million. Where'd it go?
that's a lot of studying and not a lot of remedy.
I mean, I definitely went sampling and studying, but $120 million.
Yeah.
That's, and you know, of course, high priced contractors and different things, but at 120 million, I mean, that's, and our fear is the settlement money, at the rate they're spending money, you know, 120 million in 8 or 9 years, you know, settlement money could dry up pretty fast if they keep up with this rate, so.
That's a good
Yeah,
point.
there's a concern that it has been represented generally to us, that there's just going to be plenty of money always for this, and now there's been some indication that there's concern now by the agency that the money is not, things are becoming more expensive than they thought, and so that's one of the parts of the discussion in the morning.
And that could even change with the new administration.
I'm not going to weigh in on that right now, but
Okay,
it's a good observation, Scott.
Any questions on the letter? I'm definitely glad we're sending the letter. I just hope
Glad
we
you
get,
know, yeah.
some kind of response, and not just a general response, but
Did anybody have any additions or changes or anything to it? Or are you okay with it?
you know, Peter, whatever.
I mean, I'm just using Peter's letter, but
Yeah.
you know, as far as.
Oh, he put a lot of good things in there,
You
so,
know,
yeah, and it's all things we've been thinking about, for sure.
Yeah.
No, send it away,
Okay,
yeah. You need a motion or anything like that,
it wouldn't hurt to have a motion to send.
I'll make a motion to, please send this letter to Joy, on the behalf of the county commissioner and about Peter Butler's letter.
Austin, you got a second?
I'll second, yeah.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you, Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time.
Commissioners. Thanks, Willie, and thanks, Dennis. You all have a good evening. If there's something that comes up, I'll be with them most of the day tomorrow and the state.
And don't forget, we're very appreciative of the good job you're doing. I mean, you're doing an excellent job on this. There's no way we could have taken this on ourselves without your position and what you're doing. So thank you.
Well, thanks for your support and trusting me to represent your interest in the counties. So
Yeah, no, appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, we still have a treasurer's report. Anybody have questions on the treasurer's report or anything like that?
So we have the treasurer's December monthly report, and then coming in late to your packet, we had their semi-annual report, which is July 1 to December 31st report. And the December report is just, informational. The semi-annual, it says taking on the revenue and disbursements on the top. It was, gonna get it,
Yeah,
we need to take action.
okay.
We don't need to take action?
We do.
Okay.
It's this one,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I guess, just looking at the December one, Willie, how are you feeling about that road and bridge balance?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, that was, I mean, our county general fund balance, but
Yeah, the general fund is great, the road and bridge, it's not bad.
okay, that was really the only thing on this whole thing I had circled.
It's 3 months of operational cost.
Okay.
Which is a minimum of what you want, so.
Okay, that was my main question, is if you're comfortable with that road and bridge balance, so. Austin or Pete, do you have questions on the December one?
I don't.
No, and I'm willing to make a motion to approve the statement of revenues and disbursements from the date range of 7/1/2023 to 12/31/23, if that's an adequate motion.
It is.
All right.
Okay, just one more quick question, Willie, on the Affordable Housing Fund, the disbursements, tell me where that came from? It's, I'm looking at the December one. I had a little question mark, it was a disbursement of 143,000, where'd that come from?
Okay, so where that comes from is, through the year, we pay all the costs for Anvil Mountain out of the general fund.
Okay, oh,
But all the revenues go directly into the, workforce housing fund, or the
okay,
Anvil Mountain. So at the end of the year, we take what our costs are and we transfer from Anvil Mountain into general fund.
okay, so that 143 went to the general fund then,
Correct.
okay, that explains that. Okay, that was the only question, other question. I had.
We do the same thing with the emergency services,
Right,
sales tax, because we cover all those costs out of general.
And we put them
and
in.
then reimburse ourselves.
And then we reimburse at the end of the year, that way we don't have separate checks for each account and so have to have. It's just easier for Ladonna to do everything out of one fund, and then we balance it with the.
Sure, no, that makes sense.
At the end of the year.
All right, Austin, you made a motion to accept the 7/1 to 12/31, wasn't that your motion?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, need a second on that,
I'll second it.
any other discussion before we? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Looks good. Okay, we are down to, looks like public comment. Is there anybody here? There's nobody here and nobody online that I can see for public comment, so I guess we will close that. Let's see, I gotta find my notes here. Austin, did you have, I guess we're down to commissioner and staff reports. Whoops,
We
did I
have,
miss something?
one other letter in
Oh,
your packet
the letter, which,
to the town of Silverton.
oh, here it is. Okay, that's a new one you put in there.
Oh,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
We just need to we're just gonna send this letter to them and then set up a time later. Is that-
Right.
Okay.
If
you
the
just
letter
need-
is acceptable to you guys,
That look fine. Do you just want this by consensus?
we could do consensus.
All right, you okay with that, Austin? That we just need to have a meeting or two with the town?
Yeah,
besides-
I think it's a great thing. We've talked about it. We should get back on that schedule and try and meet annually to quarterly if we can with the
Well, I think
trustees.
that's a good idea.
yeah, I agree.
All right, so go ahead and send that one. Okay. Willie did have a Just the thing, save the date on Southwest Conservation District's 40th Annual Seminar. Fluid Horizons, it's informational. And then there was another letter, you can look at it or not look at it, that was put in our packet also. Is that all I need to say? Do we need
That's enough, yeah.
okay, that's it. All right, let's see, so I think we're at Commissioner and staff reports. Does everybody agree? Pete, did you, or Austin, did you have any meetings in the last couple weeks?
You know, I really didn't. I had a lot for you guys the last time, and I don't really have a ton new. There's a CCI stuff going on tomorrow and Friday, and more stuff coming up here. So I think for next meeting I'll have quite a bit more, but I can't think of anything to come up or brief you guys with right now.
Pete?
I had they wanted to do a training for to be on the board of the AAA, and I couldn't make it. Deanna did make it. It was on a Friday, which Fridays are horrible for me, and I called her. She said no problem. I mean, it's not mandatory, but Arnick, I'm definitely going to track it, and I'm going to be there at the next meeting's in March. So I'll stay close, and I'll talk to Deanna and see if she got trained. There's board specific training. I don't take it lightly, but
Yeah.
We'll see what that's about. The other thing is thank you guys. I did a lot of, there's some, not a lot, but it's some legwork on this skid steer. Thanks for all your support and stuff on that.
Yeah, no, thanks for doing that.
Thanks for your
Yeah, thank you.
Might as well let the guy who knows do the legwork.
Well, appreciate it.
Yeah,
I guess we should probably just talk about our meeting that we had with the La Plata commissioners, just for the public record, and to update Dennis on what we talked about. We had a meeting last week with the commissioners from La Plata, Ty Churchwell from Trout Unlimited, and some La Plata staff members, and Peter Butler were also present, as well as what's Jason's last name from the Attorney General's office, or the State Attorney General's office?
I couldn't remember.
I forget, but I don't have my notes with me.
I probably have it here somewhere, but yeah, I just
Dennis knows him. He's the guy that worked on the environmental ordinance with us.
Yeah,
but I'm not blank on his name.
Yeah, friend of Mark Rudolph's, but
yeah, and Mark Rudolph from CDPHE was there as well. But anyway, it doesn't matter that much. Yeah, we had a really good discussion with the Plata commissioners. I think going into it, we were kind of unsure as to what the alignments and priorities to the La Plata commissioners versus ourselves were, and I think that we all pretty well agreed on being common partners in this settlement money that was delivered to the, let me see if I can get this straight here, the Natural Resources Trustee Damages group that consists of Phil Weiser, CDPHE, and DNR. And yeah, it sounds like everybody was in agreement to try and push those trustees to delay releasing as much of the funding as they can for up to 1 year, while we work on getting some projects together and trying to figure out more beneficial ways to utilize that money for restoration, and especially pushing that we haven't seen any remediation, that it becomes really difficult for us to do restoration when remediation hasn't been even
right.
even planned yet.
I definitely felt better after that meeting.
What did you say, Dennis? You said Jason King?
Jason King.
That sounds
right.
No.
Yeah, that's all I had on that meeting. Do you guys have anything else to kind of add to that?
I've got a couple of things on that one. Anthony told me today that it sounds like the Attorney General may actually be down in May to address the community.
Really?
Public meeting, kind of inform them what's about the whole process and stuff. And two, just got an email from, Peter Butler, who was looking at the stuff on site and, on their webpage, and he's interpreting the tech match to be, when it says a 50% match, it's not a dollar for dollar match, but if, you know, if we got $1 million from them, we would have to come up with 500,000 instead of $1 million. And he, you know, I mean, it's kind of, he's kind of got a big question mark on that, but he said that's the way he's actually reading it, so that would could be,
How do you read it? What was it?
basically it says it's a 50% match, so whatever you ask for, you've got to come up with 50%. We were interpreting it to say, if you ask for $1 million, you had to come up with
Right.
a dollar for dollar match. Ask for $1 million, come up with $1 million. The way he's reading it is you ask for $1 million, you got to come up
With 500,000
500,000.
instead of $1 million.
Right.
Yeah,
So it wasn't a one-to-one type
yeah,
of thing.
but you know, he said that's the way he interpreting it. He just kind of threw it out.
Sure.
How, you know, but that could make life a little easier for us
Yeah.
if that was the case.
I was happy to see him jump into that and
Yeah,
take lead on this.
He's really interested in kind of
Yeah, I don't think he's done yet.
taking lead on that, yeah.
No, I was glad to see him step in. I mean,
Yeah.
use that institutional knowledge for sure.
Yeah.
I would be interested in just casually reading the documents that maybe you were discussing at your meeting with Plata County and the Attorney General, if you didn't mind forwarding those to me. Just interested, and it would help me if I just had a little bit more knowledge of it.
Okay.
We'll do that.
And
And the other-
La Plata County was gonna ask their constituents if they had some ideas on, I mean, the commissioners had some ideas, but, they were gonna ask their constituents if they had some ideas for where some of that money could be spent or anything like that. But it really does have to be restoration based. It can't be like a new kayaking park or that was a little fuzzy, like the boat ramp idea, you know, it seems like it has to be, the boat ramp was possibly plausible because you're helping restore damages that happened to river raptors and fishermen and different things, you know, during that, but really I'd like to see it for restoration, just in, you know, an environmental restoration for sure. And they seem, the commissioners seem to be in agreement with that. And essentially what we talked about, you know, we had a planning group meeting too the day before, and it was essentially the stuff we discussed with the Plata County Commissioners was the same thing we discussed with the planning group. So that's all I have to add on that. Anything else on that meeting, Austin or Pete?
No, that was a good meeting.
The only other meeting I had was ambulance. Got to look at that new 4-wheel drive high clearance response vehicle that they have. That's awesome.
The SAR vehicle,
Yeah, that's an impressive vehicle with.
Tom Estes came down to work on that, and they got some. I got to see it. It's really equipped.
And the cool thing about that is that was paid for all by grants.
Right.
Jim Donovan was able to get a huge grant, and then Tyler and Cam worked on grants, I think, for the accessory equipment. So we had
Yeah.
a couple grants there. We also did get a create grant for 5,000 for we have EMT class. There's 5 EMTs in the class. Essentially that 5,000 will pay half the cost of the class. The ambulance will pay for the rest, but the condition is you have to pass the national test and then come back and work enough shifts to pay that half off. You pay the ambulance back, but
Yeah.
I'm thrilled we had 5 EMTs. It's a far cry from when I took my class. There were like 30 people in the class. It's just times have changed, but it is nice. This class has happened like every year, every other year, and it's really added a lot of EMTs to our town. So that's been great. Tyler did talk to, a little bit to Patrick Rondinelli. There are, you definitely want to talk about that new building. And, DOLA does have grants for programming and planning of new building designs. I can't remember who mentioned it, but, sometimes you can ask for a congressional appropriation to build a big building like that. I didn't know that, but it's a lot more common than we think, so you could get a grant, but or you could just ask for congressional appropriation, and they have this exact type of thing in firehouses with those congressional appropriations, so I definitely think, especially once I saw that new truck in there, and now they're having to store stuff outside here, they're gonna have to, they have to have a new facility eventually here, so, this makes sense to me. So that was the other meeting I did, was ambulance, so, that's about it.
It's the trouble with these groups, I give Gilbert the hard time about it all the time, they keep getting new equipment, but they never get rid of the old equipment.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd want them keeping some of that old equipment.
Some of the old stuff's cool, yeah.
Like that ladder truck, you guys got that for 15,000.
That was unbelievable.
That was just amazing. Anything else, that you guys got? I think we can, call this meeting at an end, and, at 10 after 8.
All right.
Austin,
Thank you.
I hope you stay healthy, and,
Yeah,
I hope your
exactly.
family is feeling better real fast.
Yeah,
Especially-
I'm sorry I can't be there with you guys, but I'd rather be here and keep you guys healthy than if we can. So
We all appreciate it.
We do appreciate that. In fact, Pete stayed away last week, Becky Joyce stayed away from the ambulance meeting because everybody had something, so.
Yeah.
And it's really going around town the last 2 or 3 weeks, so.
Yeah.
Just,
yeah,
yep. So, Dennis?
I was just saying thank you guys, and yeah, take care.
All right, you do the same, Austin.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, good night.
Good night,
have a good
everyone.
night, guys.
Yep.